My name is Louisa Larrabee Atherton Harris. I've lived in Queensbury since about 1845. My first husband, Cephas Atherton, died in 1840, leaving me with 3 children. Sarah Walsh Harris, John Jay's first wife, sadly died giving life to their 7th child, John J. Harris Jr., on July 13, 1844. John and I became a couple over time, and we married about 1846. Our brick house sits on the west side of the Ridge Road, kitty corner to the chapel, and across the road from Major and Anna Smith's brick home. They were so very kind to sell John the land for my chapel in 1865 for the tidy sum of $100. I am a very devout Christian woman and take great pleasure in holding Sunday school classes in the schoolhouse on the corner lot where Ridge and Pickle Hill roads meet. My dear husband knows how much I ache to have a real church building, so the news of his land purchase and plans are most welcome. From my parlor window, I can watch the stone-by-stone progress that Alexander Henderson Manning is making. John has hired him to come down from Ottawa, Canada, to build the chapel. Mr. Manning is a master builder in Canada. Horace Hubble has been so careful transporting the stone after its long water journey from Canada down Lake Champlain to Fort Anne. Once there, Mr. Hubble's oxen team bring the granite to the worksite. The cornerstone was placed in 1866 and work continued the next couple of years. John's health began to fail and he turned his interest in the lumber business over to his partner, Henry Bronson. It was with great sadness that I said my final goodbye to John on March 11th. Ironically, the first service in the chapel was his funeral on March 14th, 1869. The weather has turned to winter bleakness this first Christmas without John, and I sit here in my parlor looking across at the little stone church by the side of the road. No lamplight, no heat, no anything. It should not be this way. There should be flickers of dancing flames, joyous laughter, and the story of the Christ child. John would not want it to be silent and cold. After all, this is the season of hope, love, joy, and peace. I must do something about it. During the past 8.5 months since John's death, the church has been used occasionally, but not as often as it should be. It is difficult to have regular pastors come up this far, since the travel road is less than desirable for a buggy to arrive in one piece. Well, Christmas is not going to see our chapel sit idly by. First, I will stop at Major and Anna's home to have a cup of tea and discuss my thoughts with them. Both agree that it is a splendid idea and offer to accompany me. Major states it will be totally dark and void of sound. I let him know that I need to do this in John's memory and that I am not afraid. Lantern and keys in hand, I trudge through the wispy snow piles and approach. Deep breath, Louisa, I say, and unlock the door. It creaks open ever so slowly, and I peer in. Oh, my, it is very dark and very cold. In my mind's eye, I see John and hear him say, Louisa, there is nothing to be afraid of. This is God's house. You are in the best of company. I choose a pew near the back to take in the scope of what needs to be done. The chancel window facing east shows the moon hanging on a string over Sugarloaf Mountain. It is a magnificent backdrop and gives me all the light I desire. Yes, some lanterns on the sills and greenery. Must be a tree, but simplicity says more than elaborate. John would have wanted it that way. Oranges for the children, and perhaps a few other small trinkets. For the adults, warm throws for their laps. After the service, I will invite everyone back to my home for fellowship and a meal. It will be a grand Christmas. I miss you so very much, John. Thank you for giving me the most precious of gifts. God in my heart, and a place we can gather to worship Him together.